Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Suyash. I am a banking professional living in Toronto, and in my spare time I make instructional videos for YouTube. In this video we'll cover form IMM5476e, also known as the use of a representative form. You need to fill this form out if you're applying for your temporary or permanent visa for Canada and you've hired a paid consultant to do that, or your spouse or family member who's already a permanent resident or citizen of Canada is sponsoring you and is actually doing the application for you. Okay, let's begin. Here's where you'll find the latest form. Click on the use of a representative link. It will take you to a new window. Hit download, save it, and then you will need to open that in Adobe Acrobat DC or any Adobe software that you have should be fine. Okay, so just a little bit of background. Who needs to fill this form out? This is for the applicant. So you who's applying for your, whether it's spousal sponsorship or student visa or temporary work permit, you will need to fill this form out if you're hiring a representative to do that on your behalf. And that representative could be a paid one or an unpaid one, and we'll cover that soon enough. But you will fill this form out as an applicant. So you as an applicant will check, yes, I am appointing a representative. Okay, I'm just going to give you my example. It's going to become clear. So I am sponsoring my wife's permanent residence, okay, under family class. So she, my wife, actually has to fill this form out because I will be representing her. She could just do the PR application by herself, by the way, but because she's new to the process and I've already done it for myself, it only makes sense that my wife will appoint me as a representative. Okay, so this is where I fill out my wife's details. Let's say now it says if you've already submitted your application, name of the office where the application was submitted. So what this means is, if you've submitted your permanent residence or student visa or work permit application already and later you realized that it is getting too tedious to handle all that communication, and let's say IRCC reached out to you asking for additional supporting documents and you're confused how to fill out the forms again, a lot of you can decide to hire a representative after having submitted an application already. So in this case, if you want to appoint a representative after you've submitted your application, you will list their name here and you will list the type of application, whether it's permanent residence, extension, student visa, whatever be the case, and then your client ID. So if you've already submitted an application, you will have a client ID. And if you don't know how to locate your client ID, I've actually talked about this in my IMM5532e video. So go check it out. I'll link it in the description below and in the YouTube cards up here somewhere. So that'll tell you how to locate your client ID. And if this is the first time you're applying and you have hired a representative and you have not yet submitted your application, then you don't need to fill this section out. Just write NA here. So that is the case with my wife. She has not already submitted her application. So I'm going to type NA here. All right, section B, appointment of representative. So basically in this section, you are writing the name of your representative. So if you've hired a consultant, then put the name of the consultant here, last name here and first name here. And if your family, friend or spouse is doing the application on your behalf, then you'll put their name here. So in my case, because I am actually sponsoring my wife's permanent residence, she's going to put my name here, you know. So last name, first name, okay. 6. Your representative, tick one box. So they've given you two boxes, uncompensated and compensated. So let's look at the uncompensated category. Basically, if your friend, family member or your spouse is doing the application on your behalf, and they are the ones who are submitting the application for you, which means they will be communicating with IRCC. You're going to check this box, friend or family member. So this includes your friends who are helping you just out of their kindness, your children who might be citizens or residents of Canada and they are sponsoring for you, their parents. So this includes that, and this includes your spouse as well. So obviously they are going to be uncompensated. They are not going to charge you. And if they are charging you after being your family or friends, then that's a deeply unhealthy relationship, and may I advise against that. But for the majority of us, our family and friends are going to do this for free. So let's assume that is the case. So you tick this box. There's also another box here that says member of the ICCRC, a Canadian Provincial or Territorial Law Society, or the words written in French. So let's say I am sponsoring my wife for permanent residence, and I also happen to be a regulated immigration consultant. You know, just because I got to Canada and I got my residence and I started living here, and I got so good at this process because I've filed like millions of forms that I actually applied for a job in IRCC and they hired me. Then I become a regulated consultant. But if I'm filing for my wife, I'm still not going to charge her, right? So if your family or friends who are sponsoring you or are assisting you with your application happen to be members of the ICCRC, then you check this box. Or is or will be compensated and is a member in good standing of. So obviously this box is for the paid consultants. For instance, I know a lot of people that I know in India who want to apply for a temporary visa or a student visa or a work permit or even permanent residence. They actually take the help of a paid consultant. And this is a big business in India, so that's why I'm aware of it. So if you've hired someone, this is the box for you, compensated, because they will obviously be charging you. That's how these consultants in India make so much money. So the requirement for these consultants is that they need to be a member in good standing of the Immigration Consultants of Canada Regulatory Council, which means they need to be certified consultants. So whenever you are hiring a consultant to do the application on your behalf, always make sure that they have verified IDs and they are certified by IRCC. So you can just ask for that information and they should be able to point you to their website, which clearly lists that they are certified by IRCC to be a consultant. Because there's a lot of fraud going on in this area and you don't want to be a victim of that fraud, okay? So either a certified consultant of IRCC or a Canadian Provincial or Territorial Law Society. So what does this mean? So basically this means if you've hired a lawyer to do the application on your behalf, then you'll have to provide the province or territory where that lawyer operates and their membership ID. 7. Your representative's contact information. So under name of firm or organization, if you've hired a paid consultant, they'll obviously have a company name. You'll put that company name here, okay? Do not put the consultant's name here. Put the company name here. The consultant name has to be put here, okay, under your representative's full name. But in this box, you'll put the name of the company that they operate in, okay? And if they're a student at law, write the name of the supervising lawyer and the supervising lawyer membership ID, okay? The address, so this is where you list the corporate address of the company that you've hired to do the application for you, okay? Do not list the personal address of the person if it's a paid consultant, okay? And if your friend or family member or spouse is doing your application, then you can leave this field blank or just write NA, and this applies to me because, you know, I am doing the application for my wife and I don't have a company. So I'm going to put NA here. And I am going to list my personal mailing address in Canada, okay? But if you've hired a paid consultant, you list the corporate address here, okay? Under telephone number, for me, because I'm family, I'm just going to list my number. If you've hired a paid consultant, then you have to list the corporate phone number. So corporate phone number if paid, okay? And if they have a fax number, you can put the fax number here as well. And then the company email address, if it's a paid consultant, email address for paid, or personal email address if unpaid, okay? So in this case, as it pertains to me, I'm going to list, or I should say my wife is going to list my email address, okay? Just assume for this video that my wife is actually filling this form out, even though I'm the one who's filling it out. It doesn't matter who fills it out, but it should be clear that this form has to be filled out by the applicant, okay? Number 8, your representative's declaration. So this is where your consultant or representative will sign. Whether you're applying online or offline, you will have to print this form out and sign it. Remember, this is critical. This form, if it is submitted without being signed, IRCC will not accept it, okay? And I keep mentioning online in a couple of my videos, and just a little bit of background about that. What has happened since July 2021 is IRCC is testing a new portal, and that is an online portal for application of permanent residence, and it only applies to people like me who are living in Canada and are sponsoring their spouse who's living outside of Canada. And there is other categories also, and I'm gonna link it in the description below, but the online application has just begun. So a lot of people are not aware that you can actually apply for permanent residence online, and it is supposed to be quicker than the offline application. Let's just hope it works out. And I'm going to link a tutorial video that I've made about how to find where to apply online and then what to do in the online application, okay? So go check it out. So for me, in this case, I'm going to print this out, sign it, scan it back because I'm submitting my application online, and then upload it to the online portal, okay? Section C, cancel the appointment of a representative. So now this is going to be very rare and wouldn't apply to most of us, but let's assume you've submitted your application through a representative and IRCC is going to be communicating with that representative. IRCC won't communicate with you. Remember why? That's the point of the representative, so that you can outsource your communication with IRCC to a representative, to a third party. But down the line, you learn that the representative is not responsive, doesn't take your calls, and now that you've paid all your money, they don't really care. So in that case, you can actually choose to withdraw your authorization for this person to serve as your representative, you know, so that you will receive the information from then on. So you'll have to fill out these details here where you put the representative's full name, not the company name, but the name of the actual representative, their first name, and here the company name. This will let IRCC know that you want to cancel your appointment of the representative so that IRCC can direct all the communication back to you, okay? Section D, your declaration. So this is where you're going to print this form out, sign it by hand, date it, and then send it along with your application packet. If you're applying online, then you will still print this form out, sign it, date it, but this time you can just scan it back and upload it into the permanent resident portal, okay? Again, link in the description below. Then this case only applies if you are married and your spouse is actually sponsoring your permanent resident visa under family class. So this applies to me. If you're single and you're just filing for your temporary visa or work permit or student visa, then you can just write NA here. But for me, I'm actually sponsoring my wife. So my wife and I both will need to sign it here. Alright, so that was form IMM5476e. I hope you found value in this video. If you did, just give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more such videos. As always, this is Suyash signing off from Hit Submit and Canada, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, may your next barber be kind to you.